Welcome back to the FPAC Pro Bono YouTube channel. Today I'm speaking with Drew Adamick. Drew is a financial planner at Divergent Financial Planning in Lethbridge, and he's joining me today to talk about the importance of protecting your financial future, focused specifically on the needs of low-income Canadians. Thanks for joining me today, Drew.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Drew, many Canadians are familiar with insurance for things like their house and for their car. Why should Canadians consider insuring their income?
Canadians should consider insuring their income because anything could happen by which it could take one incident to change you and your family's financial situation at the flip of a hat. So, for example, if someone in your family, if the main breadwinner ends up getting disabled, WCB may not be able to cover the full amount, or let's say you get a severe illness and something happens and your expenses go through the roof. You need to find some ways that you should consider protecting your income and major expenses in case a scenario like that happens to you. And it's more often than people like to think that it is. People like to think especially when people are younger, they like to think, oh, we're invincible. Nothing will happen to me until it does.
And what types of insurance can be used to protect somebody against that really bad outcome, against that loss of income?
So there are a few different types of insurances that help people in specific situations. The most common that Canadians might be familiar with are life insurance, which is just as it sounds, is it's insuring someone's life, in which if you pass away, it pays a lump sum based on the policy value to the beneficiary. There is disability insurance, which insures your income in the event that you become disabled, based on the definition within the policy itself here. And then there's critical illness insurance, which is insurance that is designed to pay you a lump sum in the event that you receive one of the listed critical illnesses in the policy to help with various expenses and things like that as well too there.
And how does somebody determine how much insurance they need and what type of insurance that they need?
When you are looking for insurance, the best thing to do is to do a detailed what's called an insurance needs analysis. So essentially, that is a calculator, and there's many different types out there. And the advisor or planner that you speak with, a good one will have a good insurance needs analysis with them. But what it will do is will take factors in based on how much income that you have, what listed expenses that you have, if you have any debts, liabilities, etc. So, for example, any mortgage, your credit card bills, rent that you need to pay for a period of time here. And then what it does is it calculates it based on everyone in their household. Also other expenses such as covering any future retirement expenses, childcare support, education support for your children. And what it does is it determines what the type of insurance, the amount of insurance that you actually need to cover the various different needs that you have based on replacing your income in the event of a loss of life or replacing your income in case you get disabled.
And what are some of the common pitfalls that people should look out for when looking for insurance or putting insurance in place?
Well, there are so many different common pitfalls at this point here. The important thing to remember regarding insurance is don't be afraid to shop around from different providers, because every insurer has different risk appetites, because that's ultimately what insurance is. It is basically the risk of in life insurance, the risk of you passing away. If you have a critical illness, the risk of you getting that illness. So this is one of those scenarios where, especially if you have conditions that might preclude you from getting insurance or may make it more expensive to do so, don't be afraid to shop around, because some companies might be willing to take on that risk, other companies might not be. So it's all based on, whatever provider it's worth for. And a good insurance advisor, especially one that's a broker who can shop around and look with multiple firms, will be able to do that for you here. So one common pitfall, again, is to avoid is make sure that you shop around to get not only the best price, and it's not necessarily just the best price, because again, if you do have some of those pre-existing conditions, as they say to it, you might not end up getting the lowest cost one. You might end up going with something else, because ideally the policy you should have is the coverage that you need at a price that you are best able to afford. So that's one common pitfall. Another common pitfall when looking for insurance in place here is regarding existing policies. Whenever you have an existing policy, because, for example, some parents might have bought their children policies when they were young, and It might work for them now, but you got to work with what you have here. If you're replacing an existing policy, the advisor should be doing a cost benefits analysis to make sure that the policy that you have is able to meet those needs. And if you're replacing that policy, that there is a valid reason why. Part of the reason for this is in the insurance industry, advisors are paid by commission, and your advisor should be disclosing this to you every transaction due. They should be disclosing, I'm getting a commission based upon this one here. They can't, it's not like within the mutual fund industry that they can tell you, oh, here's what the approximate percentage is. They get paid a commission basically here. So they need to tell you that here. And if they sell you policies that maybe more than what you need because it might pay a higher commission, you do got to be careful about that here. So you have to look at your overall policies to make sure that they work for you. Ideally, you should be working within the existing policies you've got, but if they don't meet your needs because the situations change, that's perfectly fine. You just need to make sure that there's a rationale behind it, and that's where it goes back to that needs analysis. The needs analysis determines what do you need currently here, and the needs analysis will also tell you what existing insurance you currently have, and if there's a shortfall or if you even are overinsured, for example. So that'll tell you based upon what you currently have on the books at this point here. So those are a couple common pitfalls that Canadians should look out for when you do put insurance in place.
Is there anything else that you want to say to a low-income Canadian who might be looking to protect their income, sort of takeaways or action items that they might be able to take over?
The most important thing here, and a good planner, a good financial planner will work and sit down with you on this one here, is to look at ensuring that the insurance that you need fits within your budget. I know the budget is the dreaded B word here, but ultimately it does come down to that, because we all know in being in precarious situation, one wrong event can change sort of. And if you're a low income Canadian, chances are you probably don't have as much of an emergency fund set aside, which means having access to a policy that can pay out is even more important and more critical because it has that protection in place in case something happens. Because if you're living paycheck to paycheck, and if it's dollars and cents that's separating that between what's on the line here, for example, if between that and not being able to meet your bills every month, and then all of a sudden, boom, the income is gone, you got to make sure that it's sufficiently covered on that one here. So take stock of your budget. Don't be afraid to do the needs analysis, and don't be afraid to tell the advisors that you're working with, I might not be able to afford this today, but I just want to get some information and advice so I can plan ahead. And don't be afraid to say that you might not be able to do it today, because again, the idea is just get an idea what you need, and they can get a quote. A quote is not necessarily an application itself. Quotes just basically, that's just what it is. It's a quote.
Thanks so much, Drew. I appreciate your time. There'll be information in the description section below where you can get in touch with Drew and get in touch with the FPAC Pro Bono Committee. Thanks for watching this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification icon so you're alerted when new videos are posted. Thanks so much, Drew. I appreciate your time today.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We can defeat the algorithm together.
Take care.